This segment brought to you by Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. To join today or for more information, go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
The story of Kansas, it seems, could be written in the stories of the widows that its history left behind. And Michelle has a beautiful, poignant story for you this morning. Good morning, Michelle.
Good morning, Deb, and good morning to all our viewers. John Greenleaf Whittier, the American poet, wrote, "On the lintels of Kansas, that blood shall not dry," after he read about the deaths of 5 Free State men in 1858. Let's learn what happened at the infamous Marais Massacre.
The headlines read of horror, murder, and mayhem. The American poet John Greenleaf Whittier was moved and wrote lines of tragic lamentation. Settlers along the banks of the Marais River in southeastern Kansas were nervous in the spring of 1858. Such was the scene on May 19, 1858, when 11 Free State men were abducted from their homes and marched into a secluded ravine. There they were shot and left to die. Captain Charles Hamilton and his pro-slavery Missourians crossed the border into Lynn County and murdered 5 men, including William A. Stillwell. The killing would stun the territory and nation, edging closer to war. William and Mary Jane Stillwell came to Kansas territory from Indiana by way of Iowa. William was a merchant, Mary Jane a wife and mother. They settled near the Marais River in the community of Trading Post. William worked as a teamster and hauled freight back and forth to Kansas City. On that clear May morning, he left on a trip bound for Kansas City. As he lay in the Grim Reaper's ravine, Stillwell flashed the Masonic sign of distress to his killer, who was a fellow Mason to no avail. Hamilton's men fired, and agonizing cries filled the air. The story of the Stillwell family was simple. Man dead, woman left behind with hungry mouths to feed. Buried in Mound City, William and his grave remained unvisited by family until 1897, when Mary Jane returned to Kansas. She told a local reporter, "We were so happy in our little cabin that Will built for me and the children, a one-roomed house, but it was home, and we were together, and hope built air castles for the future." The last morning Mary Jane saw her husband alive, she felt something was not right.
When the children were amusing themselves with their playthings on the floor, I locked them in and went to work in the garden. Now, I've never been a spiritualist, but about 11 o'clock, as I bent to my work, there seemed to pass over and above me the most mournful wail I had ever heard. Startled, I rushed to the children, and fearing something happened to them, they were still playing where I left them, not having missed me. Ah, my poor Will, and yonder his mangled body fell as near as I could learn at the time I heard the wail. Oh, the days I had to live through, the kindness of strangers, the last look into the dear face, for they brought him to bury at Mound City for my sake. How vivid the memory of it all.
With a gentle soul and great determination, Mary Jane and the children, Josie and Wallace, returned to Indiana. She provided for their every need, including a college education for both. Mary Jane Stillwell died in 1925 in Crawfordsville, Indiana, a distinguished, respected gentlewoman and heroine of bleeding Kansas.
I hope you enjoyed today's look at territorial Kansas history, and that you'll join me again for another historical adventure somewhere around Kansas.
Have a wonderful Wednesday. Thank you for sharing it with me. And as always, I'll see you somewhere around Kansas.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com. Watch Ag AM in Kansas online at agamandkansas.com.